So coming in number 10 is probably going to be my most controversial film on this list, and that is Wonder Woman 1984. I'm sorry, but I can't help it. I kind of enjoy this movie a bit. It's just a fun, like, kind of almost throwback to, like, cheesy 80s films with these, like, you know, with, like, weird artifacts that, like, do magical stuff, like stuff in the 80s, and just, like, weird people in business suits. I can't help it. I kind of enjoy it. Yeah, it's also longer than the first Wonder Woman, and it might have some pacing issues as well. Some of the choices are weird, like Steve Trevor being wished back to life by possessing a guy. That was weird. I think Patty Jenkins, what she was trying to do with, like, the wishing stone was that, like, you know, like, all the wishes that were being granted would, like, they wouldn't, like, spontaneously just appear. Like, they would do something interesting, like when the guy wishes for a cup of coffee, a guy just walks in with, like, another cup of coffee that was supposed to be, like, for someone else. Like, that's, like, okay, that's kind of, like, interesting way. Like, I know, like, I see what you're doing there, Patty Jenkins, but then there's those moments where, like, suddenly a wall, like the king or prime minister of Egypt or something, or Cairo, he's like, I want a big giant wall to block off the city, and then a wall spontaneously appears. See, like, it's very I think she should have just stuck to, like, you know, magically appearing, like the wall scene. But I still can't help but enjoy it at times. Like, it's like Patty Jenkins just really wanted this film to just be like a throwback to you know, those old superhero films from, like, the 2000s or the 90s or 80s. Like, I know it's in the 80s, but she wants it to, like, feel like a throwback to, like, when superhero movies were just small, condensed films that were leading up to, like, a big crossover event. And this is when, like, the DC movies were also starting to be more condensed. And I like that part. Like, I like that she tried to do that. I really appreciate it. And again, I like Gal Gadot, Chris Pine. They're still really good, even if the whole thing is weird. But I really think their chemistry is still really cute, and I think they definitely really, like, continue their relationship. And I like the themes of it all, with Chris Pine, like, admitting that, like he's not supposed to be alive. Like, like, a lot of it is, it's all, like, very, like, deep stuff, because I think it is, like, a good continuation on, like, you know, Diana, Wonder Woman, like, still going through grief with the death of Steve Trevor. I like that it shows that well. And I do kind of like Pedro Pascal as the villain. He is pretty good, even though some of the performances are very, like, the performances are very cheesy from the villains, but again, it felt like it was going back to that time when, like, superhero movies would have one or two villains in it. And that's, like, again, to me, like, it's interesting to see that again. Like, it really feels like it had that Batman Returns feel to it. So I give it that. Like, Jenkins wanted to go back to old superhero films before they were all cinematic universes. And I'm kind of glad that we have something like that, even though sadly no one really likes this movie. So coming in at number 9 is the movie that kind of started it all, but BVS was more of the start of it all, because Man of Steel was technically just, like, meant to be the next, like, a reboot of Superman. But anyway, yes, the number 9 is Man of Steel. So this movie is 10 years old now, so it feels good to now just talk about the movie without people yelling at me, you know, with all the debates about, oh, how it's a betrayal of Superman, or how, oh, it gets Superman right. Because this is a movie I'm kind of on the middle of sometimes. But at the end, I think, like, Nolan and Goyer, they really brought up some really interesting ideas of how to deal with Superman, bring him into, like, into this modern age, and having, like, Zod be this, like, conflicting villain for him in, like, you know, with the Codex, and, like, with Superman deciding should like, Krypton like, be reborn, and should he destroy the world that, like, that despises him. it definitely has some interesting ideas, but it might, at the same time, I think it kind of gets ruined though by Zack Snyder's overly ambitious like direction. And like I think this, like I get it. Nolan didn't want to like go from doing, you know, a Batman series to now doing a Superman series, like just like right away, like the next year after Dark Knight Rises. But I think like he could have, like, I feel like maybe he should have at least maybe just direct one, just like direct this one movie and then have Snyder, I guess, like continue it with like BVS or whatever you wanted to do after. Because I think Nolan would have like constructed this movie a little bit better. But again, I do really like what it's trying to do with Superman. It's trying to give him like something like really interesting, like put him into this like interesting situation where he has to decide, does he want to like continue like his race of people, or like, you know, should he try to bridge the two worlds? He doesn't really do the best job at it because he kills all the other Kryptonians. Not just Zod, just let people like go in the Phantom Zone. But I still gotta say though, like, even if even if like, you know, like the action, I still think though, like, this like made Superman, like, they try to make Superman cool when it comes to like fight scenes, because this movie like at times really feels like a response to Superman Returns, to how people say, you know, like that movie was so boring to watch because like Superman barely did anything besides like save people at times. This was definitely the like Warner Brothers, like Warner Brothers probably like told Nolan and Goyers, like, there has to be like multiple fight scenes in this movie. It cannot just be Superman just saving a bunch of people. There has to be action scenes. And I think I think Snyder is like a pretty good director at times with his films. And I think the action is good. There isn't any slow-mo in this because, like, I think Snyder's direction was to make it feel more realistic. Even that, although at times I think the realism gets very repetitive with its constant camera zoom-ins. I'm just like, Snyder, I think like I really would like, I would like to maybe like see this movie like redone in like, if this was more like in a traditional like Snyder way. Because like, again, Snyder's better known for doing like slow-mo than the shaky cam in this film. And that's not the problem again, like I don't have an issue with the shaky cam. It's just that there's these constant zooms and it just feels like the same thing. It's like giving me that Superman 4 vibes where they're just constantly like reusing Superman like flying at the screen. It's like they're using the same like camera like zoom the same time. That gets very repetitive. But I got it. But look, I think there are a lot of really good things to enjoy about this film. It is entertaining to watch. I think like the pacing is pretty good. I do kind of like how the first part is kind of like exposition, and then the second half is just like all out action. But at the same time though, you know, it doesn't like feel like it's one big action scene. There is still like a lot of like interesting stuff sprinkled in. And I gotta give it to him. I think Henry Cavill was a really good Superman. I know some of you might disagree. I would have loved to see more of him to like actually say if he was like the best Superman, even better than Christopher Reeve, but we won't know. So, like I said with Nicholas Hoult, let's hope the new actor, who I forgot the name because I haven't seen, whoever the actor is that's playing the new Superman, I have never seen anything that he's been in, or Lois Lane. But I hope they do a really good job. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I like Michael Shannon as Zod. I like Kevin Costner. I like the father who is, like, I like the idea of, like, Pa Kent, if he has to, like, who's, like, trying to struggle to, like, think if, like, should Superman have, like, saved those kids? Should he use his powers for good? Which also goes in, like, that goes into, like, the whole interesting thing about, like, Superman deciding if should Earth, should Earth stay the way it is? Should he try to bridge the worlds? Like, this movie does have interesting stuff. And Russell Crowe as Jor-El is really good. Even when he's like a robot, he's like, you know, like as an AI. It's still very, like, it's still like a very good performance by Crow, as always. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Man of Steel. I know there's a lot of controversy. Well, there was a lot of controversy, and now not a lot of people like the changes. But I think some of this movie is pretty good, and it is definitely one of the better like Superman films ever made. So coming in at number 8 is the most recent and the last one, Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. It's all kind of funny. Like this is the last DCEU film, and it's nothing really about it. Feels like a finale. Not even like Aquaman's story, even though like, you know, there's like some kind of closure in a way, but it's still open to like other Aquaman adventures. But despite the very, very low critic score, like I think this is the lowest rated DCEU film, like maybe lower than Suicide Squad. I don't know. I think this got like a pretty low score, and it's like, this movie is really not terrible, guys. This is just another fun movie, just as the last Aquaman was. It's a fun adventure of Aquaman trying to find like a MacGuffin device and fighting off bad guys, weird sea creatures. This time, no Amber Heard throughout. No Amber Heard throughout this one, and I actually like how the movie is like continues the story of Arthur and his brother Orm, and I feel like it's kind of obvious. It's an obvious choice because Patrick Wilson is like James Wan's Robert De Niro. He's in everything that he directs. But I think Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson's their chemistry together is great. I love their characterization. I love the part. Like my favorite part of the movie is just Aquaman pranks Orm that cockroaches are like the shrimp of the land. That was really funny. I enjoyed that part. And Jason Momoa as Aquaman is still great, and I like all of the moments. Like I like the fight scenes are fun. The actor playing Black Manta, I can never pronounce his name. He's very good in it again as at this time he's like the main villain of it all. I think maybe like what happens at the end with his character, I think could have been a lot better than like what we got, which I think was maybe like kind of like lazily written. I don't know if that's the right word. And also like Randall Park, who only had like 2 scenes in the last movie. He gets a lot more, and I think he is kind of fun in this movie. Overall, I think there is like a lot of like fun stuff about this movie, and it's kind of a shame that we won't ever get to see Jason Momoa play Aquaman. This is like, because that's what he's known for. That is Aquaman. But I mean, he's got Fast and the Furious, and I don't know if it's official yet, but I think James Gunn wants him to play another character in the DCEU. But I still don't know like who is like staying around as like a DC character or not. So coming in at number 7 is another movie that didn't do so well this year, Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Another franchise I'm kind of sad that this didn't succeed, partially due to like The Rock not wanting to be in this movie, which sucks. I mean, like maybe like late 2000s or like early 2010s The Rock, like if this universe took off like around like same time as Marvel, maybe The Rock wouldn't have such a big ego to go up against Superman and would have at least like done the Shazam sequel. Because that's like one of the problems, is like the villains in the movie are not interesting. Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren, like I think their characters as villains, they really feel like afterthoughts for since like they weren't gonna go with like Black Adam in this one, which should have happened. But I think like there is still really like a lot to love about this movie. Zachary Levi as Shazam is still really good. The child actors are still really good, and like they do really good job like balancing it out with like their superhero like alter egos and like the child actors themselves, because, well, since they lose all their powers towards the end, and they're like, again, just like they're like at the end, like trying to do their own, like they have their own like side quests at the end. So I kind of like that part. And also, despite her recent like public like outbursts, Rachel Zegler is pretty good in this movie too. Her chemistry with Freddy, is very good too. And also Jamon Hansun as the wizard, coming back, really good. I didn't really expect to see him in this one, but I kind of like his addition. I like how he's in it more. I like how I like the comedy, like how it bounces off between him and like the other casts. That part is fun. Overall, like this movie has like a lot of just nice little moments, but I still think it kind of lacks that spirit of Shazam. Not that it doesn't have the spirit, but I just don't think it like has what I really liked about Shazam, and that Shazam was about like, first off, it's the idea of like a kid becoming like a little kid or like a teen becoming like a really strong superhero, unlike Spider-Man, but it's like he has a different journey than Spider-Man. It's him like he's like a legit orphan that doesn't even have any like true guardians like Spider-Man, and it's him, like, it's his journey to find family and learning the power of responsibility in his own way, and just him, and it's all about finding family. And this one, the whole thing about this one is just that like Billy's just kind of deeply like depressed that he's gonna like age out of the foster system, and like the family isn't gonna like his family isn't gonna like be able to take care of them. That's like the whole thing, and it's not really like that, it's not that like engaging as in the last one, which was him like trying to get used to foster family life and like truly accepting them as his like real family, which is why that first one is so special. But again, I do like some of the stuff about this movie. Like, it's just a movie that has a lot of like fun moments, and I like the cameo by the actor who played Shazam in the TV show, which I surprised they actually went for, unlike in Wonder Woman, which I think was a little bit of a better cameo. Because like that, the Wonder Woman 70s show with Linda Carter was more popular than the Shazam show, because no one really remembers that Shazam's show, and everyone says it's terrible. But I like that they included that actor into this film anyway, probably because of what the Wonder Woman did. But I got nothing much to say about Shazam! Fury of the Gods. It is just a fun comic book movie that has a lot of fun characters that I love, and I wish we can truly just see them again in another movie in this new universe, which James Gunn says it's gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm still really confused on like what's gonna be added into this franchise. So coming in at number 6 is Aquaman. I don't know why I like this one a little more than the second one. Maybe it's just because that's Willem Dafoe. Maybe because like I like some of the more of the globetrotting stuff. Like I love that entire scene in Italy. The entire scene in Italy is kind of fun. I guess I like more of the MacGuffin in this, and how it's like a very special Triton. And that's really it. I guess it still has a lot of the stuff that I like about this from the second one. Like I said, Jason Momoa is great as Aquaman. And the Black Manta actor is really good. Like, I like the drama at the very beginning. Nicole Kidman is good. I like the Django Fett actor. I can't pronounce his name. He's good. And I gotta give it credit. I don't know who was able to do it. The fact that they were able to cast Julie Andrews to be in this movie, like obviously in a voiceover as a giant like crab whale thing. Wow, you gotta have like someone have a lot of balls to just like ask her to just do that instead of Mary Poppins Returns. That is so funny of her that she did that. I don't even know how she got casted, but that is so funny. And that's I think some of the CGI in it is a little weird. and maybe they could have used a lot more of John Rhys Davies, which we got more of, thankfully, in the second film. Also, I gotta say, Dolph Lundgren is also great in these movies too. Like, he really got a little bit better as an actor, after the 80s with Rocky IV and Masters of the Universe. He got a little bit better, especially in comic book movies. Still want to see that. I still haven't seen the Punisher film that he was in from the 80s. I'd like to check that out, but I like Lundgren in this, but my only problem is I think the CGI is not the best, and I haven't seen a lot of James Wan's films, especially his horror films, but I've seen like Furious 7, and I think sometimes his direction in his films can be sometimes a little over dramatic. Not terrible, but it can be like a little overdone at times. But still, I think he did a great job bringing a character that no one really liked. Like, I never really cared about Aquaman. My dad did, and that's why I liked this movie. But he was able to do it in a way that didn't feel like it was too corny or trying to be too cool. It was just right in the middle, and Jason Momoa really helped it out.